Hey everybody, welcome to part two of talking about The Mask by Craig Morgan. We'll start the video off with playing the rest of the song, and then you'll get to hear my further analysis and discussion on it. Thank you for watching part one, or if you just skip straight to part two to hear the ending thoughts, welcome to part two. I hope you enjoy the rest of this song and the discussion. See you at the end of the video.
They say you got so much going on, but in this crowd I'm still alone. But they don't know, cause I hold my head up high. There's times I can't get out of bed, I'm going round and round inside my head. That's when I slip it on so I can hide. And when I get home and it's late at night, no one's around and I turn off the light, I cry and scream and yell like a crazy man. I don't have to pretend that I'm doing well, I can tell the world it can go to hell. It's just me and God when I take off the mask. I won't give up, I won't give in, I won't take it all till I'm with him. But when I get home and it's late at night, no one's around and I turn off the light, I cry and scream and yell like a crazy man. I don't have to pretend that I'm doing well, I can tell the world it can go to hell. It's just me and God when I take off the mask.
Let's keep going here and look at the second verse, the chorus, and the rest of the song. So he is, as he's looking into this next verse, he's seeing himself, or he's trying to put himself in other people's shoes and see why he has to wear this mask. And it's because they say that he's succeeding. He's got so much going on, and because of that, he feels like he has to put on this certain persona. And it's really telling that the second line in this second verse is, "But in this crowd, I'm still alone." That's really, really important to recognize, because it really shows how strongly he's wearing this mask. It's so strong that no one can see this hole that he feels like he's fallen into that keeps getting deeper. And while being surrounded by likely friends, family, if this is Craig Morgan speaking truthfully, it is, fans all over the place. But no one sees the true him. And because of that, he feels like he has to hold his head up high. And he has to wear that mask. Or else he's going to be perceived as compromised or weak or something lacking than whole. And we really get that insight to what's behind the mask when he's saying that there's times that he can't get out of bed. He's stuck inside of his own head, and when that is where he's at, that's when he puts the mask on. So he can hide, likely not just his feelings from the people around him, but also from himself. Hide it from his own emotions, because feeling those emotions get him stuck in his head, and he doesn't want people to see that. And this is this is often, and thankfully it's become a lot more mainstream to have this knowledge. This is likely what's considered high functioning depression at this point. And again, this is me just completely reading into the verses and just going straight off of what I'm thinking. It's, he is pushing through to succeed, but he has these thoughts that just make him scream and cry and yell like a crazy man. And so I think that is just, honestly, it's just so unhealthy, especially in today's environment when there's so many resources to help people combat this kind of stuff. And so I think that that's what's important, is that we look at this and we recognize that, maybe it's what I'm going through, what you're going through. And it's why I always struggle to accept people's answer when they say, I'm fine. I always feel like there is more behind that word. And there are people in my life that when they say that they're fine, that's exactly what they mean. They are fine, they are happy, they are content. But I know, at least in my life, there's been a lot of times when I've said I'm fine, and that's just because, A, I probably don't want to tell them actually how I feel. B, because I don't want to have to look at and try and figure out how I feel because I probably don't actually know. And C, I'm saying I'm fine because I'm currently wearing that mask. And so that is why I feel like this song, there's bits and pieces of it that I don't like, but this is such an important song to look at because it really it opens us up to such a world. Like, this is looking inside someone's head, and this is their way of expressing their emotions, is through, maybe it is this song, maybe this is Craig Morgan, or I'm looking right now and one of the songwriters is Mike Rogers. Maybe this is how they are expressing their emotion, and that's good. They're getting it out. But also, like, this is something, I also struggle with it because it's borderline. It's almost there, saying it's okay to hide. Because as long as you get it out when you're alone, then you're fine. But if you already are feeling alone in a crowd, you're going to feel even more alone when you're letting that emotion out by yourself. Because you, at that point, you don't feel like anybody's ever going to see the real you. You already feel alone. And I am so thankful that I have, worked my way through all of this stuff. I have an amazing support group with me. My friends here at Columbia Theological Seminary are truly some amazing people, because we have all, let me rephrase that. It's not that we have all. We recognize that people are in various places in their lives. And as such, we strive to care for one another. And we don't want to push each other. We don't, if someone doesn't want to talk about it, that's fine. We just let them sit. But we've also, because of the profession that most of us have chosen, we have become, we are well versed in looking at people and being able to somewhat read them, and knowing when people need space, knowing when people need to be pushed a little bit, but also knowing when to just be a presence there to care for them. And again, I can't thank a lot of my friends here enough for caring, for being friends, for, just loving in general, because being alone in a crowd is bad. Being alone while you're going round and round inside your head is worse. And so that's where I draw an issue with this, is that he's feeling that it's just being alone. Then it's okay for that emotion to show. And while I agree that yes, this is one way of dealing with it, like I've said earlier, I don't think it's a sustainable way of dealing with it. And I think being able to take these feelings and present them to God, to be able to either pray about it or scream about it or cry about it, whichever way that occurs, that's okay. But it also you don't have to just feel like you're taking off the mask to present that to God. God's already there. I think it is really good that he says that I won't give up, I won't give in. I think that's good, except the next two lines really bother me. And I think this is really where I get into a problem with this song, is that he says he won't take it off till I'm with him. And he's talking about God there. He's using him for God. And that really, really struck a nerve with me, because he is saying he is going to live his entire life lying that he's fine, lying behind this mask that he is strong and successful and has so much going on. These are all in the verses, but it's all behind a mask. And so it's only when he gets home late at night that he feels like he can let this emotion out, that he can take this mask off. He says he is going to do that until his dying day, and he is with God. I can't support that. That's crazy. That is crazy to feel like you have to live your life as a lie, basically. And that's just so not true. And I think even when we feel our most alone, there are still people in our lives that will be there to support us. And that includes friends and family and God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit, the entire Trinity, however you want to put it. They're all going to be there. But also, there's therapists, there's doctors, there are colleagues. If you really wanted to dive into it, there's a whole list of people who either want to hear your emotions or get paid to hear your emotions. It's one of the two. It doesn't have to be only when you get home, and it doesn't have to be living your entire life feeling like you're digging a deeper hole behind a mask, putting on a persona. That's just not the way that it has to be. Because no matter what, God loves you. And I preached a sermon a couple weeks ago on Romans 8, and towards the end of that chapter, the whole premise is nothing can separate you from the love of God. That is the entire group of verses is right there. It is God's love and divine power can overcome anything that this world has to throw at you. And as such, that includes whatever your own brain is throwing at you. God's love has power to overcome that. And I think that's really important to know, that it's not just when you take that mask off that's when God's love is going to show up. That's when God's going to see the real you. Because God already sees the real you. That's just the truth. Is that God is with you. God already sees what's behind that mask. And God, if you feel like you're in a deeper hole, if you feel like you're down at the bottom of that well, God's down there with you. You're not down there alone. And there's a lot of friends that will get down in that hole with you. And they'll probably at least either bring a ladder or a rope to start pulling you out. And that's really just, that's where I want to go with this song, is that in the closing of this video right here, that you leave knowing that you are never alone. That God is always with you. And you do not have to wear that mask all the time. And you don't have to just wait until you are by yourself to take that mask off. Because there are people that love you. There are people that care about you. There are people that want you to be healthy and to succeed. And you just have to either talk to those people or find those people, because they're there. And when you feel like they're not, you can talk to God. Because God is always there and always there to listen to you. Because nothing can separate you from the love of God. So that's what I want you to leave today knowing, is that nothing, no kind of strife, no kind of mental health issues, no human entity, nothing, not a thing in this world can overcome that power. So that's what I want to leave you today with. Thanks for watching the video. I know it was long, but thanks.